This is the Bushnell NatureView Cam HD Max. It's virtually identical to their Trophy Cam model, but this one includes two additional close-up lenses that allow you to take photos of animals or birds in particular, 10 inches to or 18 inches away from the camera, so the field of view is much closer than what the standard camera lens is. So it's a motion sensor, infrared sensor, so it senses the heat in the area and that triggers the camera shutter. It has 8 megapixel CMOS sensor. It's got a black and white LED monitor, so you can't actually see the pictures. The monitor is used to program the device. It has the 32 LED hyper night vision flash, so I think that's up in here. And it captures full HD 1080p video and still images. It's up to 60 seconds of video recording. So these are the additional lenses. This, I guess, is the screen to program the computer. You program it using these buttons down on the bottom there. Get into that a little later. It can capture still and video at the same time. It's actually not quite the same time because shutter has to capture the still and then start recording the video. But you can, set it up so that it's mounted remotely and triggers when an animal comes into the field of view, and it will take a still and then proceed to take video. Has day-night 24-hour modes. It does field scan time-lapse images so that you can capture an image once every minute, once every half an hour. You can set up the camera to work in field scan time-lapse mode. The purpose of that mode is to capture a large territory, a large field, and capture animals that are beyond the motion sensor range. So if it's like 150 feet away or something like that, you can just capture the field on a time-lapse basis. So you set a schedule of when you want to take a picture, and you can do that at once a minute, once a half hour, once an hour, and that way any animals that are in the field at that time would be registered on the camera. That way you would know whether animals frequent that area. It's particularly used for hunters, I guess, if you want to go back at a later date and you have a reasonable certainty that you might find animals in that area. It has GPS geotagging, and it will tell you what the moon phase is. These are the two close-up lenses that are used for photographing birds. The 250 millimeter lens will focus on birds at 10 inches away from the camera. The 450 millimeter will focus on birds 18 inches away from the camera. The reason why I say birds, because it's a very narrow field of view, so you can only get a small bird into the frame at 10 inches away. But you do get very sharp focus. So I bought this at B&H Photo Video because it has a full inventory of products that you need to support the camera, as well as the camera, of course. So I bought a 32 gigabyte SanDisk memory chip. You can use 8, 16, 32, or 64. This is a class 10 so that it supports video recording. I got 12 batteries. So these are the lithium, ultimate lithium batteries. They supposedly last longer and operate in colder temperatures, which is pretty important when you're shooting outdoors in Canada. And I also got this steel security case. It's saying bear safe. This here is the security box. So you bolt it onto the tree through these things here, or onto posts, or whatever you want to put it. And you slip that in. Then there's a little clamp thing here that clamps there, and so now it's secured inside the steel box, very heavy box. And you can attach the lock onto that, and it has a strap that comes with it. You use that to attach it to the tree. You put it, feed this through the brackets on the camera and then wrap it around the tree, and we'll secure the camera. You can also get a cable. It's like a bike lock cable that you can attach into the camera, and then you wrap that around the tree and lock it, and unless they cut down the tree, there's no way for them to get the camera off. So this is power in. I'm not quite sure. I didn't get a power cable with it. So, and that's a tripod mount. So I've loaded the batteries in now. There's a 12. It's just the way they're lined up, and the positive negative thing. There's a little plastic bar that attaches in here to hold them in. So that's that. It has the 32 gigabyte chip. So you just plug that in. This is the video out cable. You can attach it to a monitor, or could even do a webcast if you want. It's composite video, goes in the bottom here, and then these connect into your video RCA video connectors. This is the USB cable. It's pretty standard USB. It's got the larger of the micro cables that goes into the bottom. It has a significant manual. It looks a little daunting at first, but you realize that it's in numerous different languages, and so the English language instruction guide is not really all that long. It's relatively simple to program. This is the power control button, off at the bottom, on at the top. When you want to set it up, you move into the middle setting, and that's the setup. Then you choose the menu, and that will bring up the different functions or parameters that you can program. You can move left or right to choose different parameters. There's 20 of them. And once you have a parameter that you want to set, you move up or down to choose different settings for that parameter. And then you press OK once you've selected the setting. And then you press menu to get back out to the setup, and then off. This is the image size. It's set to 5 megapixels. If you go down, it'll go to 8 megapixels. So then you press OK, and it's set to 8 megapixels. So then you press right, and it goes image format full screen, capture number 1 photo. LED control light is on high. If you want to set it to medium or low, you can adjust the light exposure, so that you get the best pictures. So camera name, you can name the camera. Video size, so it's set up to 1080p by default. You can get other settings, 640 by 360, 1280 by 720, that would be 720p. So we'll go on to the next one. Video length, it's set to 10 seconds right now. So You can adjust the duration of the capturing the video. Interval 9 seconds. So this is the time-lapse exposures. Sensor level, it's on auto. You can choose low or normal, high, or auto. So depending upon how close you think the animals might be to your camera, you would adjust it so that it doesn't trigger the camera when the leaves blow or something of that nature. V shutter. Camera mode is set at 24 hours, so it is going to take pictures throughout the day. You can have it just day mode or night mode. Format the SD card to erase all the images on the card. TV out is set to NTSC. I guess you can have PAL. Timestamp is on, so when it captures an image, it's going to imprint the time that it was taken. You can set the clock, field scan, coordinate input, video sound is on, default set. To return to the factory default, which I found I had to do after messing around with all the settings. Basically, that's pretty simple, easy to follow, despite the fact that there are a lot of different settings. You're going to need to do some tests, what exposure levels you want and how sensitive you want the motion sensor to be. So this is the 32 LED infrared flash. It's invisible to the animals or humans in the area. That doesn't spook the animals when the shutter flashes, and humans, if they're trying to break into your house, wouldn't notice that there's a camera taking pictures of them. This is a motion or low battery light indicator. It just lights up when there's detected motion, or if the battery's low. This is the light sensor. It adjusts, get a good exposure. There's all kinds of different settings that you can configure to ensure that you get good quality photos out of it. That's the lens. This is the infrared sensor. This is a DC-in. Not quite sure why you want that, because there's obviously no plug outlets out in the forest to plug into to supply power to the unit. You have to operate it with batteries. This is the microphone for capturing the audio in video mode. So that's the review of the Bushnell Trail Cam HD Max. Now I'm going to show you some of the test photos that I took out in the field. In this series, motion detection was set to low. The first image is at 3 meters, and you can see that I've lined them up with 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18 meters. I crossed back and forth from left to right and right to left. You can set the device to capture 1, 2, or 3 images per event trigger. In this case, I've just captured 1. The first image was set to low motion detection, the second to high. You can see I'm further through the frame in the first image. In this sequence, I set the camera to auto detect motion, and I take 2 photos with each trigger. The odd thing in this is that I was going from left to right and right to left, and I missed the left to right images. So the 6 meter, 12 meter, 18 meter, I didn't get that. These photos at the end were taken outside the manufacturer's stated range of the camera at 24 meters or 80 feet. I didn't have much luck with the night vision video capture, or the day either for that matter. I did my traditional back and forth, and the only image that I managed to capture was at the 6 meter mark. Capturing images seems to be a bit hit and miss. All I can say is test, test, test. Of course, animals don't generally walk briskly back and forth across a field, so maybe this captured video is a little more representative of the way an animal would move through the field of view. This camera works. It's going to be fun to play with.